Hey, welcome back. On this edition of The Fine Line Between Stupid and Clever, I'm revisiting an old idea of mine. Over the years, I've built lots of travel guitars. And conceptually, I keep changing the idea with it a little bit here and there. And for this build, I want to build a guitar that's going to be thin-bodied and able to fit into a 33-inch microphone stand bag. But instead of building a body de novo this time, I decided I was just going to buy the cheapest, crummiest used guitar I could find and destroy it and make it happen that way. So I went out and I paid 50 bucks for this wonderfully graphicked, horrendous, no-name Strat, kind of HH Strat copy. I've seen these on Amazon before. They retail for about $65 new. I paid 50 bucks and I might have overpaid. But this is going to be a good enough template to build what I think I want to do. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the graphics on this and sand the top down to wood, and then I might do some kind of decoration with that. But the overall plan is to put the body on a table saw and slice right down the sides of the upper and lower bows to create three pieces. I'm then going to trim away the extra wood of the finished upper and lower bows and create a way to connect them to the main body so that it could all be taken apart into three pieces. I'm going to redesign the headstock and chop it off and swing the distal, the higher end tuning pegs onto the bottom end of the tuning fork so that I can overall make the guitar short enough to go into the stand bag. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it works out. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so after about 15-20 minutes with 80 grit sandpaper on an orbital sander, I took the top off of the finish of the body down to bare wood. I left this in the back here because I'm not going to be using that anyway. And then I got out my ruler and pencil and I drew out what I think is going to be the design for the body. Now I'm leaving, I'll be cutting right down the sides to make the center stick as the main part of the guitar with detachable front and bottom bows that will have contact with the body in two spots on either side. So those will be attached either with dowels or with cabinet fixtures. I haven't decided yet. I kept enough of the architecture of the bows so you get a good leg rest, and also as far back as possible so you get a little bit of arm control balancing the guitar when it's sitting in your lap. Instead of coming straight across because of the cutout for the tremolo bridge, I'm going to have to make an adjustment here around the side to keep a little meat in the wood, and I extended the back beyond it about an inch so that there's enough wood to sink a strap knob there without any problem. For the headstock, because I need to save a couple of inches here, I'm going to chop off the last two of the holes for the tuning pegs, relocate them underneath here, and shorten this up by about at least 2.5 inches there. So with the whole thing, I've cut down, losing the whole back of the guitar and the headstock, I've got it down to about 33.5 inches, which should fit in my little bag there. My main concern is that the width of the upper and lower bows might be too wide to actually fit into the bag along with the main center section of the guitar. So I might, I put these lines here about 1 inch up to, I might end up chopping the legs off a little bit, making the whole thing a little bit more narrow, but still maintaining the kind of architecture so that these will fit into the bag with the center section. But I'll figure that out when the time comes. Now, I was thinking about different ways to cut out the sections, and I was going to actually try and make the flat cuts on my table saw and things, but then having to manage this curve here to make space for the bridge wouldn't work out too well. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to drill pilot holes in each of the beginning of the curving sections, and then come back through with my jigsaw and just cut out the sections from the pilot holes that I will drill with my drill press. So that seems like the easiest way to go. We'll see how that works. Got a whole bunch of pilot holes drilled with the drill press. Now I'm just going to go to town with the jigsaw. So here's the rough cut body, really wonky with the jigsaw. So I'm going to take my drum sander, before I cut off the top and lower bows, I'm going to take my drum sander and clean up all the edges that I can. This body wood is really cheap, and I don't even know what it is, but it is really lightweight. This, whatever's left of the body right now, weighs next to nothing. In fact, I was going to see how much it weighs. Wow, or wait, let's change the units here to pounds. Oh, that's not right. 11 ounces. Is that not even a pound? Oh my God. Yeah, it's 11 ounces, the body right now. So the guitar is going to be extremely neck heavy at this point. Let's see how much the neck is actually after I chop that off. The neck's only about 14 ounces. Oh my goodness. So this guitar so far, it's going to be under 3 pounds when it's all done. It's going to be super lightweight, which for hiking and travel might be really cool. We'll just have to see if it holds up. I hope that it'll hold up under the string tension with how much of the body that's been cut. But all the actual structural parts that hold the string tension, even with the spring cavity here, should still be intact. So we'll clean it up, and we're not giving up on it yet. It looks kind of funky, looks kind of cool. And if I have the upper and lower bouts able to remove with dowels, that should fit nicely in the bag. We'll see. So here's what I've got so far. It's this very bizarre bird-like structure. I've cleaned it up a little bit. I got a little hasty with the jigsaw and it created some diagonal cuts, but with the drum sander I was able to make those vertical, and then I kind of cleaned up with a little vibrating sander, as well as by hand sanding the edges about to the degree that I really feel like I want to. Next step is I'm going to cut off the upper and the top bow right at the side of the body, and we'll see what fits in the bag, or if I need to chop off the legs of the bows to make it fit. So now here's what I've got. I did decide to shorten the legs on the top and bottom bows, and I've attached them just with simple installing some dowel pins. I'm keeping it as simple as possible. And when I did shorten them, obviously it changed the attachment points, and I had to go back with a Dremel tool and kind of soften up and round over the edges as much as I can. So it's got this kind of funky organic look to it. And I don't know, I kind of like it. I'm going to use a finish of vinegar and steel wool dissolved in vinegar to kind of make the wood look old and aged, and then contrast with what's left of the finish that's on the wood. So that could be kind of cool. I've got a test piece over here that I'm working with. It makes it also kind of look rusty red. This is from the horn, the original horn from the guitar. So I'm going to put that on, let that settle in, and then we'll look into stringing her up and finishing the headstock and seeing if it will actually hold tension to the strings. Okay, so here is the little travel guitar all built up and strung up and playable. It works pretty darn well. It is pretty neck heavy, but with a simple strap that has a string attachment to the neck, you can balance that out pretty well, kind of like an old Johnny Cash style. But now there's one thing left to do, being a travel guitar, and if you like using any kind of electrical effects and things like that, it needs a pickup and it needs some amplification. So I've been a big fan of these simple little plug-in headphone amplifiers for traveling with before, and I actually have one that got destroyed in a previous travel guitar build, and I used it as a preamp. I just basically took off the 1/4-inch jack on it and wired it directly to the pickup, which is what I'm going to do in this case. I've got this very, very simple CB Jitty wired, CB Gitty, sorry, Jitty. That's the company that makes really simple, I think this might have cost me $7 or $8. It's a little single coil pickup. And what I'm going to do, though, instead of permanently mounting the pickup to the guitar, is I'm going to cut a slot in this middle section of the guitar body here, and then put a piece of little metal plate down in there so that the magnet of the pickup will just stick into it. And then I'm going to create an elongated cable that will attach directly from the pickup and wire it straight up to the headphone pickup, so that this can be a pickup assembly that can be installed into the guitar when I do want to put in headphones and make it play. There we go. I used my trusty Dremel to route out a little slot for the pickup, and I'm just going to clean that up. That'll slide right through there, and then I'm just going to put a little piece of metal and glue it down in there so that the magnet of the pickup will just hold itself right into place. So I found some of this metal hanging strap, and I just cut a little piece of this out of there that's going to fit in my slot to make the magnetic mount for the pickup. Looks janky as hell, but so does the whole guitar, so I think it fits with the theme. So I was throwing some heat shrink on the wire to the pickup and wiring it directly to my little preamp here, and then I realized that I needed a grounding wire for the bridge, so I threw in another black wire here. Can't get more simple wiring than that. I'm going to close it up with some more heat shrink and get it as tidy as possible. So here's the finished pickup assembly, all heat shrinked and cleaned up, and I put a little alligator clip on the grounding wire, so that should work fine. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The Janky Hobo guitar. I took the little pickup system, put a little Velcro on the top here just to mount it to the body. Got the grounding clip hooked in. Overall, not a bad project if you were interested in a travel guitar for the least amount of money without any appreciation of aesthetics or anything like that. Maybe this is a project for you. Not my favorite project, a little bit more on the stupid side than the clever side, but it is playable. The body, the preserved parts of the top and bottom bows actually give a little bit of bracing to the neck a little bit, and replacing the string here at the front of the strap to the neck balances out the neck heaviness of it, so it's not so bad. I've got it playing into a little battery amp here, but this would just be the headphone jack, so obviously there's no good sound here. If you're not thinking about sound or effects or all those, or beauty, then this could be a project you might be interested in. So here's a quick video about how the guitar will pack away. Just so I can just disassemble the pickup just by pulling it off like that, wrap it up a little bit for storage later. Pop off the bottom, or the top that is, and the bottom bows carefully as not to break the dowels that are holding it together. The body itself, just leave the strap right on. Drop it in the microphone bag here. La-dee-dee, la-dee-da. And then there's plenty of space in the bag to just tuck the other pieces in along with it, depending on how aggressive you want to be about keeping them from getting scratched and things like that. I'm not too concerned. And then wrap up the pickup, tuck it in there. There you go. Fits in a microphone bag. So getting in and out of airports is pretty easy. This is the backpack that I travel with. And on a lot of backpacks these days, they've got these side pockets and straps on the top. And the nifty thing about this size of a package here is that if you take the
thick end of the guitar, slide it right down into that pocket, and then you can take the little strap across the top and tighten it down to it. Then that's a real easy way to hike around with it without it getting in the way. Whoops, it stays calm, something like that. Now, when if you're worried about a really aggressive gait agent, it's going to tell you it's too long or something like that. When going up to the gate, when I got the backpack on, I'll then take the guitar and just slide it up under my strap right here and kind of pin it against my body so that it appears to be more the height of the backpack. I let the bottom end slide down a little bit like this. I walked up to every gate at every airport just like this and never had a question about taking it on. The nice thing about it in the overhead bins, if you're you throw your bag in the overhead bin, there's usually a little bit of space above. This will slide in at an angle over your bag and on top of somebody else's bag next to you or something. Fine. So for travel purposes, it has met its goal. Anyway, leave me a comment if you like. I hope you enjoyed the video. Just be nice. Don't bother subscribing. I've got a day job. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.